welcome to Season 4, Episode 19 of Pro Wrestling's Top 50. I'm your host, Travis McNeil, and today we continue our countdown of the top 50 matches in Lucha Underground history with match number 32 on our list, which is the Gift of the Gods title match between the champion Fenix and the challenger King Cuerno from the January 27th, 2016 edition of Lucha Underground titled A Much Darker Place. This was the opening contest on the Season 2 premiere of Lucha Underground. Lucha Underground Season 1 ended about as hot as you could possibly end a season of any show. We had Ultima Lucha, which contained great matches up and down, big angles, and, an extended, 10-minute cinematic sequence to end the season. There was a lot of hype coming out of it, a lot of people very excited for Season 2. Unfortunately, it was a 6-month wait for Season 2, so this was super exciting that Lucha Underground was finally back. The title of this episode, A Much Darker Place, basically referenced that Dario Cueto had went on the run at the end of Season 1. So Katrina, the manager of Mil Muertes, who was the new Lucha Underground champion, was now overseeing the Lucha Underground temple, so it definitely had a darker, more creepy feel, with their whole, undead sort of vibe. So for this match, King Cuerno is on a giant throne at the top of the Lucha Underground temple, kind of overseeing everything, with especially, having interest in this match being for the Gift of the Gods championship. We've talked about the Gift of the Gods title, basically Money in the Bank sort of style title, but you do have to give that 1 week notice originally before cashing in for your title shot. Rey Fenix became the first ever Gift of the Gods champion at Ultima Lucha 1, and this was his first defense of the title. This match is compact, it runs 10 minutes tops, full of just crazy high spots, crazy athleticism, just a really, really cool match. And, I talk about this so often, and yes, I have a heavy bias when it comes to Fenix. I think he's one of the most impressive professional wrestlers I have ever seen, and I've been watching this 30 plus years, so, I cover a lot of ground, but he is incredible in this match, and I've talked about how he always seems to do something a little new, and case in point with this match, he does one of the most spectacular dives I've ever seen. It's up there on the list of all-time dives, in my opinion. So we start out, with the traditional kind of fast-paced exchange you would expect from these two. Cuerno gets like a hangman's DDT off the ring apron to the floor and hits his suicide dive, his tope, which, if you're unfamiliar, King Cuerno is Elio del Fantasma, who now is Santos Escobar in NXT. The man has one of the best topes that you will ever see. He is just like a bullet flying through the ropes. So he hits that here. It's so good. But then Fenix responds in kind with a dive. There's a little bit of a deep cut, but if you're, a late 90s, early 2000s indie fan, or maybe even NWA TNA fan, you might know the name Jason Cross, one of wrestling's great, mysteries of, Jason Cross should have been, everything that AJ Styles ultimately became, if he stuck around, in wrestling. But Jason Cross would do this dive where he would, hit the ropes and come over with the tope con hilo, but before he would hit the tope con hilo, he would do a full 360 with his body mid-jump. So he's jumping, and while, his body's still kind of vertical coming over the ropes, he'd hit that 360 and then the somersault. So Rey Fenix essentially does that dive here, but he does it while kicking off the inside of the middle rope. So, you've probably seen Grand Metalik, do that a lot. A lot of guys do that sort of dive now. ACH called it Air Jordan, so I was kind of consider it the Air Jordan dive. But yeah, he basically, did the step off on the inside of the middle rope, did the 360 with his body while coming over the top with the tope con hilo, and it was unbelievable. He hit it so clean. That dude is an absolute phenomenon. They keep doing cool stuff though. It doesn't just end with the dives. Fenix hits a lethal injection and he rolls it into a dragon sleeper, which was cool. King Cuerno counters that into like a surfboard dragon sleeper of his own, and then turns that into like a Robert Anthony kind of taco pizza move where he uses his legs to catapult Fenix's legs and send him face first into the buckles. It looked great. Fenix hits his double stomp that he does while Cuerno is seated on the top rope. That's always a big time move that he does. It always looks great. And a spot that I really loved, a super good near fall. He did a roll through, right? So I've talked about this in videos before that Fenix, does the roll through into the Ace Crusher, he does the roll through into the Code Red, he does a bunch of different roll through moves. So he goes for the roll through, and as he's coming up over the top, King Cuerno catches him on his shoulders and hits his finishing move, which is the Thrill of the Hunt, which is basically like a Samoan driver, like a cradle shock sort of move. So he hits that for 2. And I love this so much because it was a super hot near fall that you bought that it might have been the finish. So, you figure we get used to things in wrestling, right? So, this is a new title. Fenix is a big star. He's the first champion. This is his first defense. The champion that he's going to eventually cash in his title shot is, somebody that he has a storied history with, and it's a rematch we'd all love to see again as viewers. King Cuerno just hit his finisher and it was kicked out of, so you figure that Fenix is going to make the comeback and ultimately win the match. But he goes for a springboard 450 splash after coming back on the offense. He misses it. King Cuerno hits the Thrill of the Hunt a second time and then chains it into like Kota Ibushi's Bastard Driver, so basically like that reverse Gigantonic sort of move, and it's enough for the 3. A complete upset, a complete shock title change. I remember watching this live. I didn't see it coming at all. I was blown away by it. And just something, really, really cool that took, all of the preconceived, kind of smart notions I have as a wrestling fan, turned them on its head. I loved it. I love this match. These guys would have a feud through the first few episodes of season 2, but they would never touch the greatness of just this simple, crazy, sub 10-minute match they had. They would have a last luchador standing match that, was okay with a big ending. They would ultimately have a ladder match that, it was really disappointing, all things considered. That would ultimately see Fenix win the win the Gift of the Gods title back and go on to cash that in successfully and become the Lucha Underground champion for a short 1-week reign. But this, a perfect kickoff to a feud that, ultimately did end up fizzling out, but started really hot. This is a great match, a great moment, absolutely must see, super fun stuff. A great showcase for Fenix, of course, as always. And if you're a current NXT fan, you like Santos Escobar, definitely check out a lot of his King Cuerno stuff in Lucha Underground, where he really started to roll with a bunch of steam. This match, of course, depending on where you live, you might be able to find it on the Tubi app or, something along those lines. But Lucha Underground, you can certainly Google it. You can find these matches quite easily. You can subscribe to my channel here on YouTube so that you never miss a video. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Wrestling50. And please join me again tomorrow as we continue to count down Pro Wrestling's Top 50. Top 50.